Today, allow me to humbly share a little bit of my story. I've prepared a PowerPoint, so I'll flip through that very quickly. As an architect, I need visuals to prompt me to speak. So perhaps, can you switch on? There you go. Very quickly, my firm started by my father 40 years ago. We celebrate our 40th birthday this year. We have 5 offices, headquartered in Hong Kong with over 600 staff. We've won many awards. I'm not going to go into details, but globally, for World Architecture magazine have ranked us top 50 in the world for the last few years. A lot of different projects. We do a 500-meter tower in Tianjin. We do a hotel for Disney Hong Kong. We have done office buildings, retail, performance venue in West Kowloon, residential projects and all that. So not going to go into too much details on that, but perhaps you'll be more interested in numbers. This is kind of my journey through the dark blue line is the total revenue growth of the firm, and then the bottom line is our China office growth. And you can see my positions throughout the year as I grew the company, and particularly I joined the company in year 2000. By 2001, we realized we have to go into China, so I gave myself the title of Business Development Manager because I was so young that I go in, nobody would say, hey, who's this young kid doing there? So I tried to prop myself up, knowing that there's no marketing department within the company, there's basically no infrastructure to support me, so I started going into trade fairs. And throughout that period, I grew the China business. At the same time, I also grew the Hong Kong business. The part of the experience I want to share is it's really about communication. I am the second generation. My father started the company. My other siblings are not in the industry. So when I joined, my first day working there as a very junior colleague, everybody knew who I am, obviously, right? And they say, let's go to lunch, okay? Do you have a minimum spending for your lunch? I said, what? So local Hong Kong Chinese, the perception is you're the boss's son, you must be eating well, living well. I said, no, and then they tried to trick me, right? They took me to the street market, and we had a great time. But I think very often the communication is key when I engage my colleagues. So throughout the year, one of my key jobs is to be the bridge between my senior management and my father, and then also for the junior staff to the senior managers. And I was able to play that role quite well. So I've instilled some infrastructure throughout the years, and I break it down into sort of a set of rhythm. I call it the 4 ways. We start with daily. Daily, what I call a daily huddle, where we meet up for 15 minutes every day. I meet with my direct reports for 15 minutes. I really ask 4 questions, what are you doing today? I don't ask what they have done yesterday. I'm not questioning them. I just want to know what you're doing today. What are your KPIs? Just give me a quick update. So my finance guy will give me my cash position every day so I know where my cash is. And then, where are you stuck? And then lastly, what have you learned? And I think the last question, what have you learned, has been instrumental in sharing learning, because we all know the world's changing so quickly. A few years ago, we don't have WhatsApp, we don't have Facebook. Now where we are, we can't live without it, right? The first thing I look at, I get all my news from Facebook. That's pretty sad, but that's the reality. So what I'm trying to say is if we stop learning, we die. And in this modern day economy, we have to keep learning. And whatever we learn, know that it will be thrown away in 5 years. The world's changing. So the quicker we learn, as far as I can push this learning attitude throughout the organization, I know we can survive. So from daily, I move on to weekly. So every Friday, we have a touch base with a broader meeting. And then monthly, we have an office forum where my entire office would get together, have a town hall meeting. And all my other offices in Guangzhou, Shanghai, Beijing, they follow a similar rhythm. And then we have an annual retreat. So by keeping it daily, weekly, monthly, annually, I just want to be maybe 3 days or 2 days ahead of my competitor. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for I'm way ahead. Just a little bit ahead so I know when I make the decision, it's the most timely decision that I can make. And by having the discipline on a daily routine, it helps me to keep a pulse on the company. The report is always too late. By the time I come to my desk, it's already too late, outdated. So having that pulse is key. Lastly, I just want to share 6 points which I have learned throughout the last 15 years that I've joined the firm. Our company, when I first joined, we were about 100 people with 1 office. Now we are 600 with 5 offices, and we've been growing quite a lot. So first lesson I learned is basically my identity. I need to know who I am. Yes, I am the boss's son, so I don't shy away on that. I don't deny that. I own that. But with a humble lesson, which is come to point number 2, is I respect all the people that have been there. A lot of people who have been in the trenches with my father for a very long time. So when I come in, naturally, they're a bit apprehensive of the changes I want to make. And also, while I'm making these changes, I realized that every time when I failed, it's because I didn't respect why the system was or is what it is. So if I don't do my homework to learn why it is, the history of it, and why they choose to do it this way, I end up maybe repeating a lot more mistakes. And a very famous line made by President Roosevelt is, we always stand on the shoulders of giants. And I put that to heart because I have to respect what the people that came before me have done and the decision they have made. There's a reason behind it. So learning, it's part of the learning is learning that history, the lessons, and then we can change together. Thirdly, find out my own strength and weakness. That's SWOT, everybody knows that. And the second thing is more important, I think, the interest and motivator. We're all individuals, so we are always motivated by different things. You find out what energizes you the most and what takes away your energy. Some people could be mundane stuff, could be HR issues. Some people get excited about HR issues, So find out where your strength is, where your motivator is, then you can steer along that line. Number 4, start something new. I was a real blessing that I was able to start the whole China business on my own. I failed a lot, I learned a lot, but I think through that process, I was able to gain confidence and gain trust from the senior management that I'm actually helping and doing something and delivering results. And throughout that period, I also asked them to help, so that's always good. Number 5, I always try to be a facilitator, not an inhibitor. So when you're at a meeting, if you are the guy who drains the energy out of the meeting, then you're not helping out. So it's difficult to do, but if I can increase the energy and the excitement of the meeting, then it helps to motivate everybody to be more positive and more open. Lastly, just need to know be prepared for potential opportunities. I always realize that if I'm not prepared, if I don't identify these issues in advance when opportunity presents itself, I don't know, I'm too late to take care of it. For instance, I was looking for this one position, one talent that I know is missing on the firm. I couldn't headhunt it, so I was waiting. I waited 2 years until a CV came across. I saw it, I said, this is what I need. He asked for a very high price, but I'm willing to pay for it. I know if I didn't have that mental image, that CV come across, it was too expensive, I'm not willing to pay the price. So for me, it's having that thinking and preparation for these opportunities, I think is important. So thank you.